was tempted to get up and just say, "What more can I say than to you hath he said?" Every sincere person at some point in time, and sometimes more than one point in time, will wrestle and struggle with the issue of who to follow and who to listen to. Since a sincere heart will not subject the care of their souls to any and every voice that is out there. And we know that it is a sea of voices that is out there. The religious market, the religious marketplace, can look confusing to the seasoned in the faith. Just to look at what is out there, being sold, being marketed, being touted, being offered, being billed. It is a myriad of religious wares, whether it be physical merchandise or the merchandise of theory, the merchandise of false hopes, the merchandise of false doctrine, and the list can go ad infinitum. There's a list in the book of Revelation of the goods and wares of great Babylon, and it's a long list of things that all these transactions that all took place in the name of the Lord, and it was a great marketplace. In fact, John saw that when the great city Babylon was destroyed, that the smoke of it rose up forever and ever. And these people that Paul was warning the Philippians of somehow fits into that there are religious marketeers that take advantage of unsuspecting people, religious people. So the religious market, if it can look confusing to the seasoned in faith, just imagine what it can look like to the novice. And many of us know firsthand what it can look like to be newly convicted of your sins, to have a new care to be forgiven and accepted by the Lord, and then to look out at this gamut of religious voices, religious names, and it can be almost overwhelming. It can look like a variety show where they make sure there's something in there for everyone. All you have to do is come in the door and you'll find something you like. It can look like a smorgasbord where everybody pays the same ticket, and you'll find something in there that you like. You might not like it all, but you'll find something in there that you like. There's a sea of voices, all vying to be heard. I think in regards to all of these things about John chapter 10 and the likeness that Jesus made of himself to a shepherd and to his people as sheep, and the world, of course, as being fields. And Brother Jeremy mentioned that there are wolves that disguise themselves in sheep's clothing. Now, the protection to all of this vying and all of this marketeering and all of this stuff, all of this activity that goes on under the name of the Lord. The answer to all this is this precious promise that Jesus gave in John chapter 10. He says, "My sheep hear my voice." Yeah. In all of the noise of voices, all of the religious noise, that's even a phrase that the Lord used in the prophet Isaiah, "Take away your noise from me." There's still religious noise today, and in the midst of all that noise, his sheep can hone in and pick out the voice of the shepherd. And you've heard, I think of parables to this and illustrations of this. Happened just this week with all of the children releasing their energy during the renewal. And a mother can, that's my child. When there's noise, they can recognize, or a mother can say, that's not mine, but it's somebody's. And there's a recognition, there's a familiarity of mothers to their children, and likewise as they grow, as the children to a mother's voice. That there's a familiarity there, and there's even a tone there. We learn with our children that this cry means this, but another kind of cry means that. But all the different kind of cries can mean the same to someone else, to a stranger. Jesus says, my sheep know my voice. So in all of the different dangers, there's one protection, and it's familiarity with the voice of the shepherd. Now, Jesus went on to say, and this is a precious promise. I don't know that I've actually ever thought of this word exactly as a promise, but it is. He said, a stranger they will not follow. Now, is that comforting? Amen. That's our protection of all this. Just think of how much Paul could have said if he would have just taken the liberty to go on, and they might say this to you, and they might do this to you, and they might look like this, and it could go on forever, couldn't it? Yeah. But a stranger they will not follow, and that sums it all up. Amen. My sheep hear my voice, a stranger they will not follow, and Jesus, he covered the gamut. And those are our precious promises. So, brethren, our protection is in hearing the shepherd's voice. Knowing his voice is what makes the other voices strange. Now, an experience that some here have expressed is hearing a strange voice and knowing that it's strange, not being able to exactly identify it and put your thumb on it, not being able to exactly dismantle this construction of error, but all the while knowing that it's strange. Now, have you experienced that? Yes. That it's coming from a strange source, or just a sense that it's going in a strange direction. Yes. It's got a strange emphasis to it, and it's just unsettling to your spirit. Right. And you can't just take it and drink it. You can't just sit down and eat it. That's your protection. Mm-hmm. Amen. And maybe later on you will be able to dismantle it. Maybe you will be able to identify what it was, where it was coming from, or what direction it was going. Maybe not. But the protection is in knowing the voice of the shepherd. And when you know his voice, then other things sound strange. And that is a precious, precious promise. Amen. So the exhortation tonight is to exercise your ears. And you know that I've been thinking a lot about Hebrews chapter 5 and having our senses exercised to discern both good and evil. And in these bodies have 5 senses that we learn very young in school. And I believe that the new man has superior senses than the outward man does. And he is equipped. He's equipped to know the voice of the shepherd, and thereby to be alerted by the voice of strangers. But that equipping that the Lord gives us has to be exercised. And the condition that was addressed to the Hebrews in that letter was that they were dull of hearing. Yeah. And so one sound might not sound distinct from the other. And that was a dreadful danger that the Hebrews faced. So the exhortation is to have your ears tuned, to have them exercised, and so it doesn't take a long time to sort out what you're hearing, whether it's the voice of the shepherd or the voice of a stranger. It might, even in the world, a moment, just a fraction of a second, can mean life or death in different circumstances. The time of reaction, and the stakes, of course, are much higher in spiritual realms. So be exercised to discern between good and evil.